guys? We back here with another episode of the Spotlight. We got Tim Stalling here with us, swimmer, diver at the University of Finley. You could tell us a little bit more about yourself.
So my name is Tim Stollings. I'm 21 years old. I'm a senior here at the University of Finley. I started swimming at the age of just before I turned 11. And I knew by the time I was like 13 or 14 that I wanted to swim in college, and I didn't know where that was, but eventually I came in contact with the coaches at Finley, and it was perfect fit in all the different aspects. And so here we are. 4 years later, I got one more year after this because of COVID.
Okay,
So we're still going. We still got some things that I'd like to do.
that's good. So I got a few of your stats here. I'm gonna read them off to you. When I get done, you can let me know if they're correct or not. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know they can be messed up sometimes. So right here we got top 10 individual performance. You placed second. Helped lead his team to the ninth place finish in the D2 National Championship, the highest finish in program history. All American in six different events, national runner up in a 100-yard butterfly. Collected the most All American awards in a single season in program history. Um, 2022 GMAC Athlete of the Year. Won conference championship in seven different events. Led the team to a fifth consecutive conference crown and Scholar Athlete of the Year.
Yeah.
That all sound correct?
Yeah.
And that's a big resume. That's a lot of success. And just being able to produce for your team how you do and lead your team uh, to the top and to eventually be number one in the country in Division 2. How does that affect you? Like, how do you feel knowing that you're in that spotlight to where they're looking to you to lead them?
I think, I mean, I've always been more of kind of a leader. I've always kind of made my own direction. So I think now being like I said, being a senior and knowing that I'm, kind of like kind of showing the direction for the team and kind of paving the path that we're taking as a program. I think it doesn't feel like any extra pressure. I think
Yeah,
it's fun to kind of know that like what I'm able to like set the path that I'm able to set this team on over the next couple of years is something that they'll continue to do after I'm gone. So I
yeah,
don't feel any pressure to do the whole job. I don't, I know that once I'm gone, the team is very well taken care of.
yeah.
They'll be great.
uh,
And so it's really fun. It's really fun to know that they kind of look to me like not in many ways, not just in the pool,
mhm,
like in just life classes. I feel like I can help my teammates and the athletes that we have in more ways than one. So I don't feel any pressure to be in the position that I am. I think it's more than anything I just enjoying the ride, and I feel very honored that that my teammates look at me that way.
yeah,
But I'm enjoying it. I'm taking it day by day. I think that's the big thing is I don't want to look back and say like, hey, I took this for granted.
yeah,
So like just enjoying it day by day and taking each everything in stride, and every day's a new challenge, every week's a new challenge.
yeah.
You're gonna face things, and so I look forward to that. I welcome it, and I really enjoy the process, and I will continue to enjoy the process over the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's always good living in the moment because
Yeah.
it's like you said, the process you can enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
And you're not worried about what's gonna come. You just doing everything right now, so it's gonna get you there eventually. You're gonna get there,
Yeah.
and well, that's good for real. And like you said, your teammates look at you as a leader. So like you said, you help them in the classroom, in the pool, outside the pool. Like, um, is it like a big brother thing, or is it like they look up to you as like kind of like their secondhand coach? Would you say?
I think I don't. I think it's more of like they trust me in what I
Okay.
have to say because they know I've been through it.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the athletes that I swim with on a daily basis will ask me a question about whether it's technique or it's a question about starts, turns, whatever it may be, anything. And they're not, they ask me because they're like, you've done this and this, and obviously you're good at what you're doing, and so we want to know like what are your thoughts. And so I think it's a combination of things. I think they were obviously, they're just as good at as an athlete as I am, and we're all here to do our equal part. But I think they've seen that I've been through it. I
Mhm.
think they trust what I have to say. So I think it's a combination of everything as a collective.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so um, I know you got teammates here that you do it for, and coaches that you do it for. But like, is there anyone back home that like you that's looking up to you, or that motivates you to do the best you can do?
Oh, for sure. I think the biggest, obviously, like you said, friends, and the coaches obviously want to do it for them. But I think the biggest three motivators, well, more than three because I have more than three direct family, but family, 100%. More specifically, my mom, dad, and brother. I have a younger brother. He's a freshman in college, and then my mom and dad. I think if I can go to the pool every day and perform and do well and know that I'm making, like, I do it for them
Yeah,
because as long as I'm making them proud and they're happy with how I've done, and of course that they love me to death and they just want me to be happy, but I think I do it for them because I want to make them proud.
yeah, that's kind of how I look at it. Like making your parents proud is a great feeling. Like
Yeah,
knowing that your parents are
I think the
extremely proud of you.
yeah, I think when I like in 2021 I won the national championship in the 100 fly, and I had my phone on me with me on the pool deck, and I had just swam. Not even 2 or 3 minutes later, first thing I do, not even before I talked, like, got a chance to talk to my coach more than like a high five or anything. It's I called my mom, and dad, and I was like, we did, I did it, and my it was a beautiful moment
Yeah,
because as much as I did it for me, like they believed in me so much
yeah,
to lead up to that point that even though I was the one that swam the race and I did it in a sense, like it was a victory for my whole family because like I've been times in my career where I didn't believe in myself.
yeah,
Like I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And just to have that culmination of things lead up to how it did, and to win that national title, and the first thing I did was call my parents and be like, we did it.
yeah.
And so 100% I do it for my family. Making them proud is the most important thing to me.
Yeah, cause that's those moments like that are special. You would like those are the moments you never forget. Like
Yeah.
you tell your kids those moments. If you come like anything you do in life, you always gonna remember moments like that. And
Oh,
it just
like 10, 20 years down the road, somebody's going to be gone. It's like, for me, it's like, what memories and what relationships did I build? What memories did I make? Like, how, once the swimming doesn't matter, the records are gone, like
yeah,
stuff, everything, like, what do I have from these years that I can still like look back on and be like, that's the most important
yeah. Okay, so you said you started swimming at a young age.
thing.
What was it to get you to be like, oh, this is what I want to do. I like swimming. I want to take this serious.
So when I started swimming, I was doing a bunch of different sports. I was doing tennis, track, baseball, and I liked them, but nothing. When I started swimming, it was almost like, this sounds super weird to say, but it's like swimming chose me.
Yeah,
Like when I'm in the water, I'm I'm home. I'm
yeah,
more comfortable in the water than I am on land. Because for me, I knew it was the sport for me when I could have a terrible day and I could go to the pool. My mind would go blank. The only
okay,
thing when I'm in the pool, the only thing on my mind is I'm focused on the practice. I'm focused on what I can control, the effort that I'm putting in, and everything else goes away. And
yeah,
so I knew that it was a sport for me when nothing else. When I dove into the pool to have a practice or had a meet, nothing else mattered.
yeah,
Like everything else that like was important would just melt away. Not because it wasn't important, but because in that period of time, the only thing I cared about was like me, myself, in the water. And
yeah.
so I like from there on I knew like I'm not meant to do anything else.
Right.
Like the pool is where I want to be, and like I said, I'm the most comfortable I am when I'm in the water.
Yeah.
And so I knew from that, because of that, I knew I there was no other sport for me. It was the water chose me.
Okay, that makes sense. So I've never been personally been to a pool practice or like a pool meet. I think I walked past one before in high school. Really didn't pay attention to it, so I really don't know how the environment is in practice or in meets. Is the environment like real competitive and intense, or is it more like laid back and chill?
I would say a combination. I would say there are days. I think it's depending on what the practice is meant for. I think there are days where like we'll have recovery days where we're all there to recover. That's the point of the practice. So we're having fun, laughing, music's blaring, everybody's goofing off. We're getting work done,
Yeah,
but we're having a good time. And then I think there are days where we know, the coaches know, the athletes know that we're meant to do work.
yeah,
And so I think you show up with the mindset that you have to have on that certain day. So I think to answer your question, it's tailored to that given day. And of course, there's it's and no matter what the case is, it's it's relaxed, but there's a lot of competition going on. There's a lot of butting heads in a friendly way because we all want to get better,
yeah,
but none of us want to lose.
yeah,
None of us want to lose. So I think that creates a lot of not tension, but like people, a bunch of guys, a bunch of girls trying to outdo each other.
yeah, competing
Yeah,
at
so
a high level.
it's friendly competition, but it can get tense. We do a pretty good job of keeping it light, but
Yeah,
it's I think like I said, it depends on the day. I mean, every practice has a different goal, and I think you come in with like a certain attitude, and
yeah,
you can sense the environment on deck and what kind of day it's going to be, how the coaches are doing, how the athletes are doing, and it varies on a day to day basis. There's not really one answer, but you kind of come in, you feel the environment, and you roll with it, and you can change it. You can come in on a pretty bad day and make it make it light, work hard, but make it make it fun.
yeah.
You just have to come in on whatever kind of day it is and embrace the environment that's on the pool deck and go from there.
Okay. Like you said, you won that national championship.
Yeah.
Called your parents and everything. Is that the most significant event that you had in swimming, or was there something else that happened during your swimming career that you would never ever forget? Like that's going to stay with you forever.
I think so. Obviously, winning the national title was super important, and I will never forget that. But I think the other big thing was qualifying and competing at the United States Olympic swimming trials was a
Oh,
really huge thing for me, and I'll never forget that because it was kind of last minute because I wanted so in March of 2021 I won the 100 bar flight NCAAs, and we because of COVID we had our conference championship after that. So
yeah,
2 weeks removed from nationals, I went to conference, and then I had 5 6 days off, and then we had they got postponed because of COVID. So June was USA Olympic swimming trials. So
yeah,
I had 6 7 weeks to get into form to compete, and I hadn't qualified yet.
yeah,
So I think so. We went. There was a group of us, myself and four other guys that were my best friends, or still are my best friends. We went up to a meet in Morgantown, um, and it was like 2.5 weeks before trials, and the deadline was like 3 days away.
yeah,
And I swam the 100 butterfly. I qualified. I didn't make it in the morning. It was a prelims final, so I got a first chance and a second chance to swim it. Swam in the morning, swam a best time, but still about zero point 0.7 off the cut. And then at night, I won the event at the meet. I qualified for Olympic trials by a tenth of a second, and then 2 weeks later, we were flying to Omaha, Nebraska
yeah,
for US trials, and that's the culmination. That is the peak of swimming in the United States. There's
yeah,
no meet bigger than that. And so getting there and seeing the pool, seeing the warm up, seeing the staging area, all these things that had seen on TV,
mhm,
I'm now walking in them.
yeah,
I'm walking where the biggest names in swimming have been before. And so I was there for a week. I like literally everything. I was taking pictures, videos. I was taking it all in.
yeah,
And so I'll never forget that I swam two just like the meet that I made the cut. It was prelims finals, and I in the morning I had a good swim, not necessarily what I wanted,
yeah,
but I got a tie for 16th, so I made a second swim, and so I was over the moon. I was like I get a second swim at the U.S. trials,
Yeah.
and in the evening they stage you, and so you're in the staging area, and you can't see the pool, but you walk out. They call your name, and you're on TV, so they have to wait for the TV commercial break to end, and all of a sudden they're like, all right, you're on, and you walk out, and on both sides of you there's huge screens with your name, the Olympic rings, and you walk out and there's this huge jumbotron. You can see yourself, and there's six, seven, 10,000, fans in the stands, and you're about to swim.
Yeah.
You're a minute and a half to, because they call the names of the swimmers. You're 2.5, 3 minutes away from like the biggest race.
Yeah.
And so I was in lane 8. I tied for I it was a three-way tie for 10th. From I got it from lane 8, and it was amazing. It was something I will never forget.
Yeah.
Just because I was wearing the Finley cap, it was I knew that that's how I had gotten there. So it was just a culmination of everything, and remembering that. That's something I'll take for the rest of my career. Is
Yeah.
is that moment, that race, um, and all the memories that I have from that. I was just soaking it in.
Yeah. That experience right there just sound great. It's being in front of all those people on the biggest stage. So how would the butterflies had to be crazy, or do you go into it like you know what you gotta do it? The butterfly. Do you get butterflies?
So I think that's yes and no, because I think nerves are healthy. For me, I get more nervous for a test for school than I do for swimming.
Yeah.
And I that sounds really crazy, but I I get good nerves, but I don't have when I was walking out for trials, I wasn't nervous. I knew there were thousands of people in the stands, but the way the way I thought about it is once I'm in the water, it's the
Yeah.
same as any other race. So, and it doesn't, not just at trials, when it's there, like when it's a race at NCAAs or a dual meet, it's just me in the water.
Yeah.
And so, and I know, because I know my race plan, how I'm going to execute the race, the number of kicks I'm going to take, the number of strokes I'm going to take. I know if I do those things that I'm having a good race, and those are the things I can control. So
Mm.
before the race, that's all I'm focused on.
Okay.
So I think that takes away the bad nerves. And I think that, yeah, I do get butterflies in my stomach because I'm ready to race.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. I'm excited
Anxious.
I'm excited to do what I love to do. And
Yeah.
and so yes and no. I get the good nerves, but not the bad nerves. I don't get nervous by swimming anymore.
Okay. So before meets, are you like a music guy? Like you listening to music?
Depends. It depends. I'll if it's a I think most of the time no.
Okay.
I If it's on the way to the meet, sure, because you're on a bus, you're not doing much. But at the meet, I like to listen to the swimmers. I like to listen to the crowd. I like to talk to people.
Yeah.
Once I'm there, I kind of I tune in what I want to tune in, and I tune out what I want to tune out.
Okay.
So music, I'm in my own head, focusing on myself. So I could listen to music, but I most of the time I prefer not to.
Okay. So when you was talking about your game plan going into diving into the water, you know how many kicks you're gonna take, how many strokes you're gonna take. Like when you're in the water, because I know absolutely nothing about swimming. So like when you're in the water and you're swimming and doing what you need to do, are you aware? Like, can you see um or like feel people next to you when
Oh
you're in
yeah.
the water, or like do you like can you feel like, oh, I'm doing good or am I doing bad? Like, how do you know how you're doing against the other competition in the water?
So I mean, with most thing with so you can see and feel people. With butterfly, you're breathing straight forward. Some people breathe to the side, but that's few and far between. For me, I breathe straight forward, so I can't see my competitors on either side of me unless I'm turning. But you can feel them. There is. I don't know how to describe it, but you can tell when somebody's there and when somebody's not.
Okay.
On the turn, I turn to the left, so if whoever's on the left of me, when I turn, I can see them. Obviously, the other direction, I'll be able to see the person on the right of me. Um, but and beforehand, you have a heat sheet, which most of the time they'll have times on them. So you can see what kind of time the person to the left and the right of you has. So you know what the time on the heat sheet is, but when you dive in the water, you have to throw that out and be
Yeah.
Like you have to expect anything, prepare for everything, and just go with what's happening in that moment. So you can't see anybody, you can feel them, and you have to take. You'll get a look off the turn.
Mm.
But other than that, you have to focus on yourself and what you can control because you can have swimmers on the right, but you can't. You can't be like slow down or you can do this and that. Like so, they're doing their thing, and
Yeah.
you just have to do yours. So you can
Uh-huh.
see them, you can feel them, but you have to focus on yourself still.
Okay, so in a 100-meter race,
Yeah.
how what meter mark is there that you get to where you like, oh, I gotta kick in every last bit of everything I got. I gotta go. Like,
It's the
or is it
last.
the whole race?
It's what so you're going all out. So I'm a sprinter. So I race the hundreds. Occasionally I'll go up to a 200 fly if my coach wants to make me hurt a little bit, but I primarily race the hundreds and the 50 free cuz 100 fly, 100 back, 100 breast or 100 free, sorry, and the 50 free. And so because of that, I'm all out from the get-go. 100% from the minute I dive off the block. I am doing everything as hard as I possibly can. So you're going 100% from the beginning, but that last if you're doing 100, that last 25 is going to hurt like crazy, but that's the time when you have to find that extra gear.
Yeah.
Because when you turn and you see that person next to you, they're doing the same thing. So it's 100% from the very beginning, but then you have to find that extra gear at the very
Yeah.
end. And
Okay.
it starts as soon like it's just it's a race. I mean, it really is. It's a race just to see who can go out the hardest and hold on the longest.
Yeah. Swimming is a talent because I know a lot of people that can't swim. Swimming like scares a lot of people. Me personally, I can swim enough to survive. Like I can't just go out there and swim all day long, but I can jump in the deep end
Yeah.
and swim to the other end or make it out like that. So like being able to even swim at a fast pace and still be conscious of people on the next to you or like even seeing the wall.
Yeah.
I can't be personally. I can't see the wall because I probably got my eyes closed. Are your eyes open the whole time?
I mean, you can blink. I mean, obviously your eyes aren't glued open, so you blink, but a lot of the time if you could run the risk of hitting something if your eyes aren't open.
Yeah,
So you occasionally you might close them for like a millisecond or a half second or whatever, but most of the time, yeah, your eyes are open. You gotta see everything, see the wall, see the pool. Because you're looking at the bottom. Because a lot of time you can gauge where you are in the pool based off the bottom. So
yeah,
you may not be able to see the wall, but you can everything around you. It gives you an idea where you are.
yeah.
So you may close your eyes for like a split second, but most of the time your eyes are wide open.
Okay. So and then the breathing aspect is like, how does that work? Like you just
So it depends on the race. So number one thing is you like as a swimmer you need to be comfortable holding your breath. That is the if you can't get used to exerting yourself while you can't breathe, then you're not going to be as good as you could be. I think that's the big thing that especially as a sprinter because you have to limit your breathing. In the 50 freestyle, you like the highest level and I don't breathe at all. Like the swimmers at the highest level they don't breathe. If you want to be good at the 50 you can't breathe.
yeah,
So that's 50 yards. It and it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're going all out effort, you want to. The human as soon as you begin to hold your breath, the human brain set in 7 seconds will say we need to breathe.
yeah,
So 7 seconds into the race, a switch flips and it says we need to breathe. But you have to fight that. You have to learn to mentally overcome that urge and just put your head down and not breathe
yeah,
while still exerting yourself. When you go up to the 100, it's a little bit different because that's enough. That's a far enough distance. Still a sprint, but that's a far enough distance where you have to. It's almost like you have to have a strategy.
mm,
How many breaths am I going to take? Where am I going to breathe? Like how many strokes will I not breathe on or not breathing off the turns? How far will I kick underwater? And those are all things that you have to take into consideration. So it's dependent on the event to a certain extent. And then at some point you just have to put your head down and go.
yeah. Dang. Breathing like the whole 50 yards without breathing, it sounds crazy. So, and when you do out of water workouts,
Mhm.
are you like doing those like holding your breath, or is it that don't go into it?
So when we're lifting or we're doing dry land, that's nothing. That you know you breathe, do whatever. The you train your mental capacity and your lungs to not breathe when you're in the pool.
Okay.
Because you're in the pool for 2 hours and you're not breathing more than you are.
Yeah.
So you're it's how much you breathe in that practice is a fraction of how much you don't breathe. So
Right.
when you're talking about 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, that's all the work you need. When we're in the weight room or we're doing dry land outside or in the gym or whatever, that you don't worry about it there. What you do in the pool, that's when you worry about your breathing, your breath control, regulating your heart rate. All that stuff comes into play in the pool.
Okay. So talking about swimming and like because you're winning a lot and you're all American and you got these awards under your belt. So how does post college look for you? Are you looking to go to the next level and be in the Olympics for a while, or what do you see yourself doing after college?
So I think it's not a guarantee because I think nothing's a guarantee, but ultimate goal would be I'd like to swim professionally.
Yeah.
After college, the next level is professional swimming.
Mhm.
So, and the Olympics are every 4 years. It's not really something that you can just become a part of and be a part of for a while. You
Yeah.
have to. That's a every 4 years you have to
Okay.
qualify.
Yeah.
So you every 4 years, and so 2024 to make the Olympic team, you have to be the one. You have to the top two fastest in your event for that year, and
Like
it's
out of the whole country.
out of the whole country. So as a 100 butterflyer, to make the team in the 100 butterfly, you have to be the first or second fastest guy um, at the meet. There's a meet in Omaha this year. This coming 2024, it'll be in Indianapolis at the IUPUI Natatorium. Um, and you have to be at the meet. It doesn't matter who's fastest up until that point. You have to perform at that meet and be
Yeah.
be the first or second guy at that meet. And you make the Olympic team for that year if you do that. But it's no guarantee. Next in the next 4 years in 2028, it'll be up for grabs for that team. So
Yeah.
I would like to swim professionally, and I 100% believe that I can do it, and I will work for that. The Olympics, obviously, I'd love to be a part of that. But
Yeah.
that's one of those things you can't really account for, or plan for until it's time to go for it.
Yeah. And in Indianapolis, I'm from Indianapolis. So I might end up going to that meet if 2024 if it's not packed out already, because I know you said it'll be a lot of fans already, and there's a lot of swimming fans out there. Because I look at swimming as like in water track
Yeah.
basically. So like when you go to professional swimming, is it like do you get paid off of sponsorships, or like how do you get paid?
So there's USA Swimming. There's a national junior team which you can't get paid for because you're still like a junior
Yeah.
amateur athlete. But then there's the senior national team. So if you're the top six in the country, in your event, you're part of the national team. So you can get paid through that. You can get some money through that, but then also through sponsorships.
Okay.
So once you declare professional status, you can communicate with brands, you can do all these things, and you can get sponsors. And through that, it can come through payment or it can come through equipment. You can
Yeah.
get free gear, free goggles, caps, suits, all these things that take that weight off of you. So
Yeah.
so yeah, can get paid for being a part of the national team, and then you can get paid or equipment through sponsors, and you can have equipment sponsors, you can have athletic gear sponsors, you can have suit sponsors. There are a lot of different companies that provide a lot of different things for swimmers. So you can I mean, be grateful to have a sponsorship, but then
Yeah.
you can work with your sponsors to like decide what you want, and you come to an agreement, and that helps out a lot.
Okay. So lastly, is there like in your swimming career, your whole entire swimming career, like it's been most likely it's been up and downs. But recently it's been a lot of ups. Because you worked so hard and you you're getting the results
Yeah.
that you want and the results that you sought out to get. What do you want to be known for once swimming it's all over. Like once you're done in the pool for good, what do you want them to say about Tim?
I think, I mean, of course, I would like to be known for how I did in the pool, but also I think I want to be known for how I helped the swimmers that come after me, because I think that there's a tendency for these for athletes that are, not everyone obviously, but sometimes um, athletes that are great can kind of scare away other athletes to like come want to come up and like ask them questions or do this and that and like ask for help. And so I think as much as I want to be known for like how I performed, I think I also want to be known as like somebody who like was super down to earth, like wasn't afraid to help a swimmer that needed it or provide, some guidance. I don't want to be known as somebody that's like that people were afraid to go up and talk to.
Mhm.
So I think as much as I want to be known for like how I performed, I also want to be known as somebody that was super willing to help, super willing to guide somebody who needed it, to do what I could to help an athlete, a swimmer in swimming or anything else. So like records, but for also just being someone who wanted to like help the community, help the athletes that come after him.
That's good. Well, I want to say thank you, Tim, for coming on the show. I learned a lot today because, like I said, I knew little about swimming. It's a whole other world. I can't ever see myself competing swimming because I just not good enough in the water, not comfortable enough in the water, but like you are. But thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate you having me. Yeah, thank
Thank
you.